Your 30s will likely be the highest earning decade of your life so far. They will also be the decade where you have the absolute least to show for it. Both of these things are true at once, and the collision between them decides everything that comes next. Keep two people in mind while I explain this: Karen and Silas. They live on the same street, make the same $78,000 salary, have the same $11,000 in savings, and carry the exact same student loan debt. Fast forward to age 65. Karen is deciding which day of the week she wants to play golf. Silas is still setting a 6 a.m. alarm, not because he loves his job, but because the math just never closed. It wasn't luck. Neither of them inherited a dime. It wasn't the market, because they held the same index funds through the exact same crashes. And it definitely wasn't income, because Silas out-earned Karen almost every single year after age 38. So what happened? It came down to one decade, a window that opened at 30 and quietly shut at 40, and neither of them heard it close. If you've ever felt like you work way harder than you did at 25, make more money, and yet somehow have less, hit the subscribe button, because that feeling is not a character flaw. It is a scheduling problem. And today, I'm going to prove it to you with simple arithmetic. The reality check: average versus median. Let's start with where you actually stand right now, because the number in your head is almost certainly wrong.
The Federal Reserve puts the median net worth of an American household under 35 at about $39,000, but the average is $183,000. Sit with that gap for a second. The average is nearly 5 times the median. Why? Because the average is like walking into a room where one guy just sold a massive tech startup and 49 other people are splitting the bill for a burrito. The wealth of that one startup guy gets divided by 50 and handed to you as your benchmark. You've spent your whole adult life comparing yourself to the guy who sold the startup. The median is you. The median is the person in the middle. If you're in your early 30s, the median retirement balance is around $16,000. If you have any retirement account at all, you are already ahead of a coin flip, because roughly half of households under 35 have exactly zero. So why does it feel so hard to get ahead right now? It comes down to 3 invisible forces operating on you in this decade: the squeeze, the halving, and the line of sight. Let's break them down. Force number 1 is the squeeze. This is why the money isn't there. Your 30s are the decade where every major expense in a human life shows up at the exact same time and parks in your driveway. Child care for an infant runs about $1,230 a month in most states. If you have 2 kids, your child care costs more than your mortgage. And child care prices are rising faster than overall inflation. The thing eating your paycheck is getting worse faster than everything else. Meanwhile, your student loans are still there. Borrowers in their 30s hold about 1/3 of all student debt in America. You didn't outrun it in your 20s. It moved in with you. Then comes the down payment for a house, which has now become a 30s problem rather than a 20s problem. And to top it off, your parents are getting older, and the phone calls you get from them are starting to change in tone. Some of you are thinking, okay, great, but I am living the squeeze. I don't have an extra $500 a month to save. What am I supposed to do? That is the correct objection. You are probably not going to outsave the squeeze. The daycare years are the daycare years. No amount of skipping lattes or making spreadsheets turns $1,200 into zero. If you are just treading water right now, you are not failing. You are paying the single largest bill of your life at the exact moment your income is the smallest it will be. But you are not being asked to outsave your daycare bill. You are being asked to build the catcher now, while it's cheap, so that when your income finally clears the squeeze, it lands somewhere productive. Force number 2, the halving. Take $1,000 and invest it at age 30. Assuming a 7% return after inflation, by the time you're 65, you have about $10,600 in today's purchasing power. Now, invest that exact same $1,000 at age 40. Same fund, same market, same you. By 65, it's worth about $5,400. You lost half, not by making a bad choice, but by making the right choice 10 years late. That is the halving, and it applies to every single dollar you touch in this decade.
Let's go back to Karen and Silas. Karen puts away $500 a month from age 30 to 40. Then at 40, she stops completely. She never contributes another dollar for the rest of her life. Total money put in? $60,000. Silas waits out the squeeze. He starts at 40 and puts in $500 a month every single month until he's 65. He never misses a month. Total money put in? $150,000. At age 65, earning 7%, Karen has about $495,000. Silas has about $405,000. The woman who quit saving at 40 beats him by $90,000, despite contributing $90,000 less out of her own pocket. I'm not telling you to stop saving at 40. The takeaway is that the dollars you invest in your 30s do heavy, structural lifting that nothing you do later can replicate. In your 30s, your savings rate matters infinitely more than your investment returns. Force 3. The line of sight. Now for the third force. This is the one nobody warns you about, and it's the one that actually destroyed Silas's financial future. The line of sight. Economists once studied Canadian lottery data. They found that when a household won a prize roughly the size of a median annual income, the bankruptcy rate of their close neighbors rose by almost 7%. The neighbors didn't win anything. They just watched somebody buy visible things, new cars, kitchen renovations, landscaping. Nobody has ever gone broke copying a neighbor's invisible retirement account. They go broke copying the visible sofa. Your line of sight is in your pocket. It refreshes every 4 seconds, showing you the highlight reel of everyone you went to high school with. And your 30s are uniquely dangerous because this is when your career raises finally start landing. Silas out-earned Karen by roughly $14,000 a year from age 38 onward, but his savings rate never moved. Every raise arrived and was instantly absorbed into a bigger house, a newer car, and a life that quietly expanded to fit his new income. His income advantage had a savings rate of 0. It didn't become an asset, it became a lifestyle. And lifestyles do not compound. Your raise is not a win, it is a test, and your line of sight is what grades it. The Playbook. 3 boring steps to win. So, how do we actually beat the math? Here are 3 things you need to do, and none of them require you to be a genius. In fact, they are aggressively boring.
Number 1. Capture your employer match. Roughly 1 in 4 employees does not contribute enough to their 401k to get their full employer match. Over 30 years, that free money compounds to over $120,000. It is a guaranteed 50 to 100% return on your money. Don't skip it just because the HR portal is annoying to log into. Number 2, stop trying to beat the market and just own it. Over a 15-year period, nearly 80% of active professional Wall Street managers fail to beat a basic S&P 500 index fund. You are not going to outtrade them. Silas spent his weekends researching semiconductor stocks, paying for the privilege of losing to Karen, who put her money in an index fund on autopilot. Buy a broad index fund and go enjoy your weekend. Number 3, automate your raise before you see it. Log into your retirement plan and check the box that automatically increases your contribution by 1% or 2% every year. When you get a raise, the system takes a tiny cut for your future before it ever hits your checking account. You can't spend money you never saw. Your take-home pay doesn't drop, and you trick your line of sight. The conclusion: 15 minutes versus 20 years. When Silas was 34, he got an $11,000 raise. He took the default retirement contribution instead of getting his full match, and he financed a $770 a month car instead of a $530 used one. 2 reasonable decisions in 1 month cost him $250,000 by age 65. He spent 20 years trying to catch up through sheer white-knuckle discipline. When Karen was 31, she spent 15 minutes logging into her plan. She bumped her contribution to get the full match, checked the auto escalation box, and closed her laptop. She didn't think about it again for 30 years. She wasn't smarter than Silas. She was just disciplined earlier about something smaller at the exact moment it had the most leverage. That is where you are standing right now. Your window is open today. Don't try to be brilliant this decade. Be boring. Spend 15 minutes this afternoon checking your contribution match. It will outperform almost anything else you could do. Thanks for watching. See ya in the next one.